weekly talks of the Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub. So we're sorry for this is small delay because of some organizational matters. So I won't be really long on the introduction. I would like just to mention that during this episode, we are going to talk about new business models and why it is important as a part of the digital transformation journey. Our guest today will talk about this importance and will address different aspects and angle of this new business models. We will have Julien Zins from CPI. We have Ben Hederdal from IBM, and we have Martin Vallée from EY, and finally we have Luc Azilinon from Interlinks Auto. I will introduce them a little bit in details later on. Let's start with Julien immediately, who is going to talk about how CPI is focusing on the new operation fields. Julien, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Marina. Can you show my screen? It's okay?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Hello, everybody. First, I would like to thank Marina and L-DIH to give the opportunity to CPI to participate as speaker in this interesting talks. If you have any question during my presentation, you can use the question tab and I will answer at the end. It's really important for us to share with your community our experience in digital transformation and how we help our clients to implement cutting-edge solutions to increase productivity in their business. Okay, let's start. Let me introduce myself. I'm Julien Zins. I've been working for 20 years in PLM sector, product lifecycle management, and digital continuity for research laboratories, engineering school, and private companies. Today, I'm in charge of digital continuity for CPI. We are an engineering services company based in Luxembourg. We operate all over the world, and we have offices in France, in Labège near Toulouse, and Querétaro in Mexico. Our clients are the major players of aerospace, defense, naval, and automotive industry. And we collaborate also with local industry in Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Grand Region. Our mission is to help our client to implement cutting-edge technology solution to prepare the future of manufacturing. Our core business is end-to-end industrialization, industrial control, quality, metrology, Lean Six Sigma, etc., data monitoring, digital continuity, and training and certification. We are accredited by Luxembourg and French education government as training center, and we are a Dassault Systèmes partner. We have several certification centers in France, Luxembourg, and Mexico. During this session, I will give some concept of the new business model of the future of manufacturing. And because we are a services company, I will make parallels on how CPI can help you to do this digital transformation a success. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay, some speakers in previous talks spoke about the concept of industry of the future or industry 4.0. I will more focus my presentation on the challenges of future of manufacturing. Future of manufacturing is based on the concept of smart manufacturing. Smart manufacturing is not just digitalize the past with machinery or create the 3D digital mock-up of the factory, for example, it goes much deeper that. It's a new mindset. It means changing our practices to maximize their efficiency using the power of the virtual world. The challenge is to interconnect machinery and systems on production side, but also client and partners and other production sites. As you can see, top industrial try to answer 3 questions: how to educate the workforce of the future, how to reach a level of operation excellence, and how to integrate a very dynamic ecosystem. Okay, that's the key point of my presentation. I also wanted to let you know 3 other points. Artificial intelligence market will reach $72 billion in 2021. 86% of the top innovators are manufacturers, and the most promising technology for the years to come are focused around the data and not the machines. Okay. Let's speak about workforce of the future. To educate the workforce of the future, it's necessary to implement new methodology to train the people, but also to train the trainer. At first, we need to learning by collaborating with multidisciplinary project, multi-physical, for example. Second, learning by doing, like at a Fab Labs, or via technological platform like the initiative Campus Fab in Bondouf near Paris, as we are partner of this Campus Fab. Third, learning by working in collaboration with the enterprise. It's really important to develop the necessary skills to meet the needs of industry. And another information, CPI Luxembourg has decided to join its force with the Luxembourg Ministry of National Education, ADEME, and the CNFPC to create a training center for prepare experts in digital manufacturing for Luxembourg and the Grand Région. The objective is to support manufacturing sector companies in their digital transformation by preparing workforce for implement Industry 4.0. How to reach a proper level of operational excellence. The one-size-fits-all concept is gone. Mass production is being replaced by mass customization, and manufacturers need answer to meet to high and low customer demand. The processes digitalization, monitoring the KPI, the key performance indicators, and use the digital twin to simulate scenario are an important part of the answer. To do that, we need to perform the digital continuity to trust information for decision making in the extended enterprise. We need to implicate our partners. To give you an example, here is a big picture of what is a digital continuity for manufacturing in machining industry. You can find end-to-end process from the design office until the shop floor. At the beginning, we have product design. Okay. After we define manufactured product method, process plan, operation, and next we need to manage our resources. It's really important. This modelization is named PPR, Product Process Resources. For example, we can associate operator work instruction to the process for manage the shop floor operation. And to do that, we need a MES, a manufacturing execution system solution. to manage a shop floor operation. And we can go further with connection between ERP and MES, Apriso for our example, and an advanced planning and scheduling solution like Hortemps, what we use, to be agile with customer demand. Okay. I want to give you another pragmatic example. Our team work with our partner to implement a data monitoring solution, the CMS, Condition Monitoring Services, based on sensor connected to enterprise system to monitor KPI. The idea is to connect digital twin to ERP via the MES, as you can see in this slide. We are developing this technical solution with the help of our industrial laboratory, the company Précis Trade, who is member of the GIFAS, the French group of aerospatial industries. And we believe that production gains go through the mastering of process and data rather than investing in machines. Okay. And that's the last point of my presentation, is the integration of the ecosystem of partners. In the age of experience, we need to connect consumers to the manufacturers. To do that, we must optimize internal logistics and the entire supply chain from the design office to the end customer to be more efficient and more. We have the solution to use collaborative platform to onboard partners in your value chain to increase speed, efficiency, agility, and responsiveness to be more sustainable. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'm in time.
You are perfectly in time. Thank you very much. I know it's short. 10 minutes is very short. It's kind of teaser. So there are no questions from the audience actually right now, but I do have a question. How did you come to this idea about integrating the technology to create new business models and to create new ways to accelerate, the production, or to accelerate or to increase revenue and optimize your processes? On what best practices that was based on?
Two things. I think we are directly connecting with our clients. Our clients are from several industries, aeronautic, aerospatial, automotive, naval, etc., and software editors like Dassault system, but not only Dassault system. We use all the technology, all the software, and we have a good knowledge and know-how about industrial processes. And that's a pragmatic answer to question from our clients. They said to us, how can I manage my production, and how can be more efficient? And that's the idea of the boss of CPI to create this solution with the teams and to implement all the new technology, because we think we can increase productivity, but it's not necessary to invest in machinery. The idea is optimize processes, and that's the idea.
Okay, thank you very much, Julien. That was really, again, a good introduction to these new business models. Of course, if we still have any other question coming later, we will take it after, by the end of the session, or even, by mail, and then we will be sending you these questions.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. So now our second speaker is Ben Heyerdahl. Ben is the commercial and TSP sales leader from IBM. He will be presenting new business model 4.0. Ben, it's yours. We don't hear you, Ben. I think. Ben, yes? Yes, I think we have you now.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, we hear you now.
Perfect.
And we have your presentation as well. Okay.
Perfect. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. I'm going to take you through a point of view on new business model 4.0. So here we go. A little bit about IBM for those. I'm sure everyone knows IBM a little bit at least, but I'm going to take you through a few innovative points of IBM. So if IBM was founded in 1911, so it's more than 100 years old and still here. A couple of key, thinking about Industry 4.0, a couple of key innovations that happened throughout the years. 1928, IBM invented the punch cards, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. 1952, there was the first digital storage, which was tape. In 1956, that was AI, before AI really, where IBM machine played chess. In 1969, IBM systems helped land the Apollo missions on the moon. 1970, IBM invented the magnetic stripe, as you probably see from all your credit cards. And 1973, the barcode, which we're all very familiar with when shopping. 2011, we had the first AI to understand really fluid language. And more recently, quantum computing systems for commercial use. So where we actually are selling commercial quantum computing. And last landmark, I would say, is for 27 years, we have been on the top patent list. So the last year was 9,262 patents. Couple of things more things about IBM. These are the standard IBM values with dedication to client success, innovation that matters for IBM and the world, and trust and responsibility and personal responsibility in all relationships. So that's overarching IBM values. Going into the new business model of Industry 4.0, we are now at the fourth, which everyone is aware about, which is the cyber physical systems, where we have software, hardware, and data and the mix of it. So what are the things that really are driving this new Industry 4.0 and the new business model? I defined three, there are more, but the top three I would say are Internet of Things, so connected devices, AI, so artificial intelligence, cloud, whether that be hybrid or public, the connectors linked to that, so how you can actually connect and use data, AI, security on the cloud, and as well data, which has been said, data is the new oil. So using data is an integral part of Industry 4.0. So in the new economy of Industry 4.0 and the roles that we see there, we need to have people that have more cognitive flexibility, negotiation skills. They would have service orientation skills, coordinating, people management, creativity, and critical thinking. Why this different set of new roles is because these are roles that typically cannot be replaced by a machine. These are roles that are more human behavior than a typical machine behavior. So an important thing when you think about Industry 4.0, the data, the cloud, etc., is what is actually technical possible versus what is actually ethical. So when you look at technically, you hear about all the different things you can do, and there's so many possibilities within all this, the hardware, software, and the AI, etc. But what is actually ethical? This is an important point. So really, the purpose of AI, this is definitions by IBM. You can see the link in the presentation as well. The purpose of AI is to augment human intelligence, not replace it. Data and insights belong to their creator, also a very important point. And a new technology, including AI systems, must be transparent and explainable. So it really is a transparent system that we need to work with forward. So it's an important point, I repeat, that what is actually technically possible, what actually is ethical responsibility. And so in this new world of new business models, what is actually influencing these different business models? One is, this is a few, but not limited to this, right? But a few is reduced loyalty. Before, you had business models where you stayed with certain companies for years and years. So we see, there's reduced loyalty in this new Industry 4.0. You start and stop when you want, and you want flexibility. You want to go up, you want to go down in terms of your capacity, as an example. And it's much more demand-driven, so driven by the market rather than pushed out from the providers. And there was always this term, this is the brown box, and we fit it in the brown box, but not one fits all. So everyone is specific. Everyone has very specific demands. So you need to have that one box doesn't fit all. And there's also the financial aspect of it. So where CapEx versus OpEx. So where instead of you have a huge, an amount you take right away, or you spread that amount over time, and where you can have flexibility as well in terms of usage and the cost linked to it. And of course, the new gig economy, where everything is becoming more flexible, hourly basis, etc. So this is a step model, really, in terms of the different business models. And I would say probably more or less all of them are available, but each of them have their specific characteristics. So what everyone probably knows is traditional purchase resale cycle. You buy something and you sell it on. And then you buy something and you sell it on with services, whether that be managed services, consulting, etc. And then you take that to the next level where you actually embed. So you buy something, you add on services, but then you actually code on top of that as well, and basically embed technology to invent a new product. That's an embed offering. And then if you bring that to the next level, you pay as you go use. So you want to use it only for 1 month, then you stop. Then 6 months later, you start again, and you go for 2 months, and then you stop, etc. So you pay as you go use. And then flexible end times, start times. There's not this, as you go up to different models, where you have to have a 12-month contract, 24-month contract, 6-month contract. You have a flexible end start. I only need it for 3 months, but then I need it for another 3 months, and then I need it for another 3 months. So the flexibility in terms of when you start, and actually when you end, and when you can restart. And also, on the top level, I would say, is contractless, where you really just buy as you consume. You don't necessarily sign up to a contract per se. So these are different stages of a business model in the new Industry 4.0. And I would say all of them coexist, and all of them are more or less available. So how do you actually look at where you are in the stage of Industry 4.0 in the business model? So one model that IBM has defined is really to map your maturity, where you are in this life cycle. I've heard before, are you Industry 3.5, 3.1, etc. So map your maturity. And what's your existing project? And many companies are already looking at what they can do to change the manufacturing, as an example, using AI, data, robotics, vision analytics, etc. So what is your current projects? Define the capabilities you have, and then use data and cloud strategy. What are you doing in terms of cloud moving into the future? And what are actually your devices you have on your plan today versus where you want to go? and then redefine your sensors, so cameras, sensors, etc. And you interact your experience. How do you actually want to present this? And this is really important to be underpinned by strong security, because all of this is generating a lot of data, information, etc. So you need to underpin or build around a strong security strategy. I've included a link here. IBM has an example where you can click on it. You can benchmark yourself versus other manufacturing, where you are on the stage of Industry 4.0. And how do you also start this? One model is very complex chart. I'm not going to go through this chart, but what I wanted to present with this chart is that there is a model defined where IBM would work with you to take you through different steps and to take you on this Industry 4.0 or 4.5 as you move forward, and take advantage of the different business models and the current market situation that you are in. I believe there was a question here.
Yes, I'll click on that one so everyone can see the question. So the question, how ensure the change management with future users forget a good using of new IT tools?
How to ensure management of future users forget a good use of new IT tools?
I think how the IT tools, let's say it in the other way around. So how the IT tools, the use of the transformation, digital transformation actually, and to create new business model to ensure the change management, right?
Yeah.
Or what is the relationship between the change management and new business model? Of course, new to the use of the IT.
Yeah, I think if I understand this question correctly, if you look at the way things are moving in terms of on-prem versus cloud or hybrid cloud, and the way of using IT tools now and in the future. The traditional way is that you had an on-prem solution and you coded on that on-prem solution. So you had so many versioning of that on-prem solution, it became like a small big program in itself, right? Which would be very difficult to change. But having an IT tool on the cloud and where you take advantage of the open source and the intelligence that is on the cloud, and you really develop on the cloud, enables you to be really agile as you move forward and in adapting your IT tools for the future. I'm not sure if that answers the question, because then you're much more flexible instead of building an on-prem, very specialized just for you solution, while in a cloud solution where you develop it on the cloud, you are able to use standardized open source, etc., which will make you much more agile to have your current tool today and in your same tool, with an evolution of it in 2 years into the future.
Okay, thank you, Ben. You have 2 more questions, but let's keep it till the end of the session, and we will go through it later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to introduce our 3rd speaker today, Kevin Dantonio, who is the Strategy and Innovation Consulting Leader at EY. So Martin Vallée wouldn't be able to do it. So thank you, Kevin, for taking this quickly. The floor is yours. Thanks.
Can you hear me well? I guess
yes,
so.
We hear you and we see your presentation.
Yes, so hello. Yes, hello everyone. So yes, I'm Kevin, and from Ernst & Young, leading the strategy and innovation practice. I don't know if the presentation is running. Maybe just coming, but today in this episode,
it is running. We see everything. Yeah.
Super. So in this episode where we are speaking with my colleagues here on the new business model, we would like to share with you a couple of tricks, hints, and tips to really help you in this new world that we are all building, and in particular focusing on this concept of resilient supply chain. Today, as we all know, our business world is also changing and impacting different type of the value chain, from the product offering on the go-to-market and operations. Obviously, business model is completely also here started to be disrupted in terms of partnerships, in terms of flexibility, in terms of internationalization, sorry, and in terms of operations. Obviously, when we do things that we need to address operational inefficiencies brought by the complexity of today's world and also the different challenges that we have outside, to rethink about administrative processes or again restart some business operations. We wanted to focus today on 3 key highlights for this next 10 minutes together, to how you could, or at least some tricks to reactivate a supply chain where it's completely stopped, or at least let's say alienated with some of the disturbation of the current context. Second, to share some methodology and tools to help you really increase the resilience of your supply chain based on some leading practices. And last but not least, and this is something that we could also tackle down with this during the Q&A, to establish a more local production footprint to, and here according to what my previous colleague was saying, to also better serve the customer and ultimately the consumer. So today, by addressing some of the key initiatives that we will be happy, of course, to share with you following this presentation, as I was saying before, we would like really to focus on the one initiative that is really important as what we consider as a now priority to really to be carried out immediately. So the reactive supply chain, and secondly, to adapt and plan for a new type of world and a new business model for Industry 4.0 to increase the resilience of the supply chain. So again, I won't go through the whole detail. We'll have that and happy to have several conversations. But again, our idea is to really share with you some of the intent tricks on those 2 specific models. First topic, as I was presenting, so to reactivate the supply chain. What I've heard before, it's completely, I can't agree more than that what has been said, that today we need really close coordination, clear data flows and frequent exchanges between the different partners across the value chain to ensure really that really we can restart and operate a business, end-to-end business. So really from the procurement to the distribution, to ensure that we can really intensify the different contacts with our suppliers and other providers. From a distribution standpoint, to ensure that the supply chains that we are building and ultimately the business model can serve at best our customers and ultimately, as I was saying just before, our consumers, and really at the heart of what we do to ensure that the link between product sales and administration are really providing information, that the data and the different, let's say, information flowed really from an efficient way. And this is really important in this, again, in the situation to really, when we think about how to reboot or how to prepare really a restart and even to plan ahead the future of supply chain and Industry 4.0 at large, to really ensure that from all those components, from procurement, distribution, production, sale, and admin, that all of those are really linked all together and as a, let's say, to consider that as an end-to-end and overall process, where the information, processes, and organization with that. Just also to stick with one of the questions, I do think that the IT tool which is behind, of course, we need people to enable this resilient supply chain, and change management is definitely one of the lever to consider and to ensure to onboard the people to drive the IT system to ultimately sustain that. So this is really for the first chapter. The second chapter is when we talk about the resilience of supply chain. Again, today, what we have tried to draw here in that slide is that in the traditional supply chains, well, these are some key, let's say, highlights or main challenges when we see that there is a geographic concentration, when we have a bit of limited flexibility across the supply chain or logistics or even warehouses processes that we are putting in place, or even, again, to stick with what has just been said in terms of poor data integrity, quality, and security, that overall, when we bring all those challenges, that the resilience as such is not really inherent in today's supply chain structure. And this is why we do think that the increase of this resilience is definitely one of the key, let's say, initiatives that needs to be done to really enhance overall the business model and ultimately your operations. What we will share with you, again, is this. We have tried to bring together 11, let's say, leading practices and try to do also a benchmark through some our UI research and some also feedback from our clients to how prepared at best and your business from both local, regional, or even a global distribution. But this is a tool that we wanted also to share with you, to be also pragmatic and to be also to serve some of the challenges or even to help you prepare the thing. So this is a tool to really get the different leading practices on the different thing. If I just need to focus on one thing, I will just take, for example, on the sales operation planning, for example, the SNOP, so this monthly meeting with, let's say, when we can find that there is a monthly meeting, but there is a patchly attendance and so on. To the SNOP, we do think that it's really a process that needs to be conducted across the organization, and just to also adapt with my cycle scenarios, we really bring flexibility and agility. Again, this is only one single, let's say, example, but we wanted to share that with you so that you can also leverage and use that small tool for businesses. Again, another tool to also going in that same direction to be really pragmatic. It's a bit this type of framework, a bit the 6 steps to get this to go through this supply chain resilience strategy. Again, as my colleague was saying, I don't want to be to take too much time to go through that, but the point that we wanted to highlight here for you today, of course, you have seen a lot of and many framework, but the things that we do think we need to now use also a type what we call a stress test of some of these key pillars, and in particular on the where are the gaps. I do like the slide that has been presented before. This is to identify where are my supply chain gaps today, and today to be ensure to put in place a response effectiveness process so that we can ensure, again, in this context of bringing agility, flexibility, we know where are our gaps and we know how to respond if we have one of those gaps happening. So again, these are some six key steps to be conducted, but with one key fundamental here is that we not need to wait that to go across this virtuous cycle. No, we can stress test on some of those specific points. Stress test, as I was saying before, is really an important that we would like also to bring today to you, because conducting simulation, we can, of course, validate some governance, some process steps, some gates, some role and responsibilities, and so on. But we can also, let's say, in a predictive way, try to train and educate participants. And this is also going to the change management type of questions that has been raised before, but also to try to help us identify shortcomings, pitfalls, and also anticipate for the risk. And to be able to build a supply chain, a predictive supply chain through let's say, based on the resiliency, it is really something that is really a keyword that we wanted to highlight to you today. So now, as a wrap-up, now more than ever, we shift really from a reactive to a predictive mindset. Okay, and because mindset, it's also bringing human at the heart of what we are when we are operating, and when, in particular, we manage the supply chain. So, to increase really we have an increased operational complexity, and basically to get a resilient supply chain can definitely support or at least answer to one of these things. Second thing, we have just seen that with a colleague from IBM, that there is a faster pace of technology advancement, and we need to leverage it. And again, a global tax and global trade complexity, with that we need to tackle to augment the impact of the disruptive events, to be flexible, and last but not least, we have a higher expectation from our customers, and we need to be able to build this entire resilient supply chain. So on that, I will stop, and a big experience for me, and glad to answer to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. So yeah, that was a really good presentation and quick about how to define new ways for realizing value, and in particular today for supply chain, which is a very important topic in, I would say, tense situation and then a difficult market. How this would be and somehow implemented in our actual situation? How you can take us through this one, for example, the role of supply chain and a new business model in this crisis?
So is it Is it a question? Yeah. Hello.
That is my question.
Okay. So how could this could be implemented? I think that today, again, starting from this stress test, really try to get a clear understanding on where are currently our gaps, and to understand that from whether the production or even from the distribution, or even as I was presenting before on the administration and so on, to try to identify where are really our gaps. This is, for me, one of the critical first steps to be conducted, and I do guess that part of our participants have already conducted research. So this is, for me, one of the fundamental to be done. But secondly, and this is maybe to look ahead, it's really to try to, as a predictive, to try to ensure that we could have put from governance processes also role and responsibilities to ensure that we have all the steps in place to be in mode, to be reactive in a case of whether we need to expand quickly, whether to react from a crisis perspective, and so on. So I don't know if I really spot on your answer, but I would say that identify the gaps are really the fundamental and needs to be done, and where are the pitfalls. But secondly, and to be really able to build a small, let's say, elite task and processes and role and responsibilities to be reactive in a matter of we need to expand, we have a crisis, we need to react, and so
on. Is it on your screen? It is on your screen. So COVID crisis has shown that classical resilience models suddenly did not work any longer. Do we need to find new resilience models?
So yeah, by new resilience model, what do you mean by new models?
That is not my question. So this is a question from the audience.
Sorry. I was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we need? Okay. So sorry, Marina, because
so
I was.
1 second. We can keep it. Then maybe it's Laurent who is asking. So Laurent, you can maybe add some more detail about your question, and then we will take it afterward, right? Is it okay with you, Kevin? Let's keep it for
Yes,
till the end, okay?
But do we need? Yes, I do think yes to make a one shot. Yes.
Okay. We will take it later. Thank you very much. So I would like then to introduce our last speaker, Luc Azilino. Luc is the co-founder of Interlinks Auto, and I think he has a great story about how implementing new business models has really, gave him a great opportunity to grow his business, right? So I'll let you tell your story, Luc. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Marina, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain. We think we can participate to circular economy with digitalization in the automotive aftermarket. I can't see my presentation on the screen. Do you have my presentation online, actually?
You need to share it, probably. Yeah,
okay.
Here you are. Yeah.
Is to offer recycled parts accessible via internet or a mobile application, and provide those parts to some players around Europe, garage owners, but also motorists for a large range of vehicles. So here I'm going to speak about automotive industry, but not all the industry, only spare parts. And in the spare parts, a very small part that is related to recycled parts. What is the context actually? Many countries are considering circular economy as a real lever to face the growing challenge of sustainability. And if that can be, if that can have a sense in different fields, the automotive aftermarket can have a very strong impact on this. And to give an idea of what I'm talking about, let me share a few figures with you. Actually, the spare part industry represents close to 150 billion euro for all kind of spare parts. And the part of reusable spare parts is actually around 2%. The target, according to some studies, I have in mind a study from McKinsey, the target for the next 10 coming years is around 10%. So this is a very great challenge, and a certain number of needs have to be covered to being able to reach that level. From Interlink's point of view, we need to organize two major things. The complete supply chain to help workers to present their offer to the market. This is the first one. And the other step is to provide solution to the users, motorists, garages, and make the access to those kind of spare parts very easy for them. A lot of people today could be willing to use that kind of spare parts, but the way they can get access to it is quite difficult. So Interlink's target is to bring solution via APIs, web platforms, mobile application, in order to make the access to the product very easy for all kind of customers. So, as you said, Marina, I've been creating different project activity in Europe since those like 20 years, and mainly in the automotive activity. And my two last experiences are quite interesting to go through this new challenge with recycled parts. Let me share with you my two last experience that prepare the field for Interlink's Auto. One is Autosimo. Autosimo is a solution that I've built 15 years ago for a very important European group. This solution is actually used in 3 countries, France, Italy, and Belgium, by more than 10,000 different customers in B2B, with 90,000 connections per day and more than 10,000 other every day. In terms of process digitalization, this is a very good example of a solution in the automotive aftermarket that help professionals working daily. The second example is Autopass. I have created Autopass in 2012 in Luxembourg, and now Autopass is owned by a quite important European group. And Autopass is an internet catalog, certainly the most accurate and the most complete one on the market today. That is also used at the European level in many countries: Spain, Portugal, Italy, Belgium, and Germany. Just to let you know, auto centers like Naruto, Midas, Auto 5 in Belgium, even ATU in Germany are actually using that kind of solution. This experience helped us to master all the key points to go through that new challenge. We master the data. We master also the relationship at the B2B and B2C level, and how to create commercial activity on a fully digital base. Coming back to Interlink's Auto, our ecosystem is European. And the idea is to gather information from all the workers in the different European countries and make those make those information available through our Interlinks Auto platform, so that all kind of customers, car drivers, garage, for all brands and kind of vehicle can access to that offer on digital application. That can be explained through 5 simple steps, and to present the workflow. The very first step will be for the B2B or B2C customer to search for a part. Let's imagine that you have a car that has about 20 years, and you need to replace a part on it. You can go on the platform, on the Interlinks front office, and have all the necessary information to search for your part. Interlinks Auto platform is connected to a second tool that we are also creating, that is our ERP. And thanks to this ERP, Interlinks can have live connection to the records, so that the customer at the other hand can see in real time the stock position, the availability of the spare parts, and can easily use the system to send their order to the workers. Workers will deliver the spare part from their stock within, let's say, 24 hours. And the idea here is to create the different tools that help the driver easily being in connection with the workers' offers. In the system, the ERP is a very key point, because actually the workers don't have digital tool for their daily work. So one of our key points is to build that ERP that will enable workers to identify the vehicle they have to dismount, and then reference all the parts that are related to each vehicle. This ERP we also store the stock informations and everything that is related to traceability. When proposing reusable spare parts, knowing where this part is from is a very key point. So the traceability have to be integrated to that ERP. And this solution is also a great opportunity for the workers to share information between each other, because there could be a question of availability of certain spare parts. And if one worker don't have the part, he can check from another one if this part is available. So exchanging information locally between them is also part of the challenge. To achieve all this, we also need some partners, like branch federation. FEBIAC, for example, in Luxembourg and Belgium, are among the people we are actually discussing with. And the same organization are existing in the different European countries, and we are now having contact and discussion with them also. The other kind of key partner are the workers themselves, of course, because they are in the center of the system, dismounting the parts, so they have to be completely involved, not only in their activity, which is dismounting, but also in the whole process, being informed of the way that their part is going to reach the end user tomorrow. And the last but not the least, the repair shops. Some governments have also decided that this kind of part have to be in the repair shop offer. But actually, it's quite difficult because even when they are convinced and they want to propose this, having access to those spare parts is something quite difficult because there is not enough digital solution that could enable them having access to having the possibility to propose this kind of offer. So thanks to what we are trying to organize now, we think that we can help them enlarging their use of reusable parts. To summarize the activity and highlight our value proposal, Interlinks Auto will sell recycled parts to motorists and professionals by connecting the weaker stocks, providing to the weaker URP, and organizing delivery between 24 and 72 hours. The value proposal will be making available all the stock of recycled parts at the European level, answer to the demand mainly for the car of more than 10 years old, being able to have enough stock to propose for all the customers in different countries the parts available, integrating motorists and professionals, and at the end, our ambition is to settle the different issues that makes actually impossible the access to that kind of spare parts. We need for that to, of course, build the supply chain, the complete supply chain, from the workers to the end user, have a very efficient tool to identify spare parts, and implement and manage the complete e-commerce platform. And by doing this, we hope that we could go from the flat ski and traditional activity. I'm sure that a lot of you have faced that experience going in such area with the flat ski in hand, trying to dismount a part for their own car. Going from this field to a more industrialized field where dismounting will become a real manufacturing activity with stocks and well-packed and reference spare parts that can be ordered from mobile application. So this is the ambition of Interlinks Auto.
Thank you very much, Luc. That was really a great example about how we can be creative in finding new business models or new ways really to, address a new market or even growth and enhance operation in our business actually, and in your business, of course. So I don't have questions yet, so it might come or later on, but waiting for that one, I would like to introduce what we are going to do next week, next Thursday. So I am not able to share my presentation, but that's fine. So next Thursday, it's going to be the episode number 5. So our episode number 5 is the second part of the section, which is entirely dedicated to the a new focus and a new market. So next Thursday, we will be really talking about what would be the new ways that we can use to activate a new market, find new buyers, and really how and why it is a key factor of increasing the productivity or a success. Okay, we will have Stefan Klank from Traction, who we will be introducing and talking about the importance of advanced planning and execution. We will have Fabrice Croiseau, CEO of Intech. He will talk and present what are the new sales channels to engage with the new customers. We will have Lorraine Hume from Actimage. She will be presenting the digital environment knowledge and why this would be a good tool for new opportunities. And by the end, we will have Laurent Federspiel from Ceratizit. He will again tell us the story of how Ceratizit developed new digital sales channels to fit the customer requirement and the customer needs. If you would like to assist, please click here and register for episode number 5. No questions so far. So I will close this episode today by really warmly thanking our speakers. It's always a pleasure to have such quality of presentation and expertise to share with you. And I know it's very challenging, short time, 10 minutes, but we are always trying to make it short and again, to give you an idea, but please continue the discussion with our speakers. Get in touch with them directly if you need to, or through the DIH. We will be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much, and see you next Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.